The Sig Sauer P365 has been the king since 2018. Now, some websites disagree with that. The Sig website itself says it is America's #1 selling handgun. Most data seems to indicate that it is, even taking the top spot from its big brother, the P320. It was first chambered in 9mm when it was released in 2018, and later in 2022 they started offering it 380. The Sig P365 is living proof that it's not the size that matters. My name is Dwayne, and this is The Gun Show. P365 is a striker fire short recoil handgun with a stainless steel slide, stainless steel chassis, and a polymer frame. Now, all the models that I could see had slide serrations on both the front and the back of the slide for easy slide manipulation, and there are tons of options available for different slides and frames, such as a pick rail, integrated compensator, slide cutouts. Just like the P320, the P365 has a fire control unit, which is the serialized portion of the gun, so you've got multiple options to customize that gun if you just have the 365 fire control unit itself. Lots of different slides, lots of different lowers, all kinds of options on their website. Actually, it looked like 25 different versions of 9mm and 5 different versions of the 380 that can be had there, potentially with the same fire control unit. Now, the polymer grip uses a double stack magazine. You can get those in 10 round, 12 round, 15 round, or even a 17 round mag, specifically for those who are overcompensating for something. Various colors available, including robin's egg blue, rose, rainbow, coyote tan, and of course black. That coyote tan is the same as the military's P320, or more appropriately, the M18 or the M17. I did notice, though, that there was no gray or flat dark earth available for the P365. Not really sure why. Those options are available for the P320. Now, Sig also advertises that the P365 has the lowest bore axis ratio of any handgun currently made. Most of them have optics ready options. All of them have some type of either the X-Ray 3 night sights, Sig Light night sights, or the Sig Anti-Snag, or the SAS version has the flush-mounted bullseye fiber tritium night sights. Now, I'm colorblind. I tried to look at the difference between those X-ray sights or the Sig Light night sights. I couldn't personally tell a difference, and I couldn't find any online where anybody was talking about that. So you guys please let me know what the difference between those are. It looks to me just like it's green 3-dot tritium lights. So tell me in the comments what that actually is. Those sights are made of steel, which means they're able to be, you can do the one-hand cycling if that is necessary. Just like the 320, the 365 can be disassembled with no tools, and you don't have to pull the trigger. All you do is flip that takedown lever to 90 degrees and it comes right off. Now, there are a couple different versions as well for you who live in either Massachusetts or California. Well, I'm not sure why anybody would live in California right now, but the Massachusetts version features a manual safety and a loaded chamber indicator. The California version has the loaded chamber indicator, magazine disconnect, and the manual safety. Now, it should be noted that you don't have to have those California compliant or Massachusetts compliant versions to have the manual safety. There were several options that had the manual thumb safety on that. So let's do a little more in-depth of a comparison between the 320 compact and the 365, because you might say, well, there's so many options for the 320, why would I maybe not just get the 320 compact as opposed to the 365? Well, maybe you would want the 320 compact, but here's how they do compare. Spoiler alert, the 365 is basically just smaller, but not tremendously, but it is smaller. I think probably the biggest thing that you could note would be that the 365 is only available in 9mm and 380, whereas the 320 compact can be purchased in 9mm, 357 Sig, 40, or 45. So you could argue it either way. Does that size matter? You do want it to be a little bit smaller, then you'll go with the 365. Would you rather have more caliber options? Then you might want to go with the 320 compact. But anyway, here's the comparison between the compact and the 365. So barrel length, the 365 is 3.1 inches The 320 compact is 3.9 inches. The height for the 365 is 4.3, and you get a full inch higher for the 320 compact at 5.3. The overall length for the 365 is 5.8, and the overall length for the 320 compact is 7.2. So probably as far as concealability goes, some pretty significant differences between the two. Just depends on, I guess, how you carry and how deep you do need to conceal. Now, worthy of note, since I'm a Glock 43 carrier, the Glock 43 has a 3.4 inch barrel, and as I mentioned, the 365 is 3.1. The height of the Glock 43 is 4.25. The height is basically the same at 4.3 with the 365. The overall length of the Glock 43 is 6.26, and again the 365 is 5.8, so it's smaller than the 43 is as well. Now the 320 has the accessory rail. Not all of the 365s have an accessory rail, but some of them do have that, so that is an option that is available on some. Some other differences. The 320 fire control unit has a separate housing for the sear assembly, whereas the 365 sear fits into the FCU chassis directly. The 320 FCU goes into the grip module, then the takedown lever is pushed through a hole in the grip module and the FCU. Now for the 365, it has the takedown lever in place in the FCU, and the whole assembly is placed in the grip module as a complete unit. The ejector on the P320 is just a bent over part of the stamped steel. The ejector on the P365 is part of the machined component. The P320 FCU is stamped steel, and the 365 FCU is a casting, which is then finished machined. The 320 uses a different slide lock lever layout and a coil spring held in by a horizontal lateral pin, whereas the 365 uses a wire-like spring in the FCU and the takedown lever arm to hold the slide lock lever in place and give it spring tension. The disconnector is in slightly different location on each one of them, and a different size and a different shape. The same with the firing pin, safety lever that pushes up on the firing pin safety, plunger in the slide. So there are certainly some differences between the two, and all of those are reasons why you can't just slap the 365 FCU in the 320 frames and vice versa. There are quite a few differences as far as the internals go on those. The trigger is pretty much the same on the two. You could get online and you could find arguments swinging both ways, opinions swinging both ways. But for the most part, they seem like the 365 and the 320 have about a 5.5 pound trigger pull, give or take. Also, of course, I have to mention that you've got various flat trigger or curved trigger designs on either the 320 or the 365. Now, probably a comparison that's worthy to do, the Sig P390 would have been the predecessor to the 365, even though the 290 did not have the fire control unit. As far as size goes, the P390 was around for quite some time until it was discontinued in 2017, and I'm sure they discontinued that because in 2018 they released the P365. Though it is slightly larger, it is their subcompact offering. So the P390, though it was a great pistol, definitely was significantly improved upon with the release of the P365. The majorly lighter trigger pull, that P390 come in at about 9 pounds. And of course you have so many different options and improved sights. And the fire control unit, as mentioned, was not available in 290. Now, interestingly enough, I was curious as to were there any other SIGs that had the fire control unit. And the 320 and the 365 were not the first SIGs to offer that FCU. The P250 was the first SIG to use the modular FCU. That was introduced in 2007, but it was also discontinued in 2017. And I'm sure that's because they wanted the focus to be on the P320 and the P365. Now, size comparisons, as we said, the P390 was a little smaller. It's 5.5 inches long as compared to 5.8 in the 365, 3.9 high as compared to 4.3 high in the 365, 0.9 wide as compared to 1.1 wide in the 365, and the barrel length was 2.9 inches as compared to 3.1 with the 365. So the 365 is a bit taller, is a bit larger, but the amount of upgrades that you get with that. Magazine capacity, of course, is another one I didn't mention. Major upgrades over the P290. Now, SIG advertises right on their website that the P365 is, I quote, America's #1 selling handgun, end quote. I really tried to find some verifiable sources online, much like I did with the P320 video, and I just couldn't find anything. Even the articles that tell you that the 365 was #1 or whatever was #1 couldn't give you their verifiable source that they used for that information. Some articles even listed that the Glock is still #1 or that even Springfield was #1. So I went with Gunbroker's data. So that is not exhaustive data for sure. I know that everybody doesn't buy their guns from Gunbroker, but Gunbroker sells a heck of a lot. Their data from the year that the SIG P365 was released, 2018, 2019, 2021, 22, and 23 indicate that the 365 was their #1 selling handgun. And in 2020, I can't remember which gun came out on top of it. I apologize for that, but it was not. But that's the only year since the P365 was released that it was not on top. Also worthy of note, the P365, though not used by the U.S. military, like its big brother, the 320 is, it is used by various police departments across the United States as either a secondary carry weapon or as a weapon that's authorized for their non-uniformed personnel or their administrative positions. And also the Danish are a fan of it. The Danish SOCOM and the military police in Denmark use the SIG P365. Now, I can personally say that though I don't own a SIG P365, I have shot one on a couple different occasions. Did a comparison video with it and the Hellcat, and again a more recent range review. Both times I did shoot the P365 better, and I like the feel of it better, even better than my Glock 43. But, I own a Glock 43. I'm happy with it, and I already overcompensate by weightlifting, so I probably won't be buying a P365, but it seems I am a part of the minority. The P365 is likely here to stay for a long time because, dang, I can't even imagine what SIG would have to do to make improvements on it, but I sure am excited to see it whenever they do figure out what the next big thing's going to be. So the P365, most people love it. Some people probably hate it. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. Appreciate you guys for checking out Hunt, Shoot, Live. My name is Dwayne, and this was The Gun Show.